Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, time is running out for SNAP benefits. We'll have the latest from Washington, D.C. Plus, we hear more from Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel about her joining leaders in other states in a lawsuit against the Trump administration. And we'll see who's on the ballot for the Gladstone City Commission in next week's election. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Welcome in. We're getting closer to your Halloween weekend, and as we head into tonight, it'll be a chilly one, but this is seasonal now. Those normal temperatures for the overnight is 31. We are seeing some 30s, some upper 20s in here, maybe some patchy fog if you're headed out very early tomorrow morning, at least to the western half of the UP. Just keep that in mind. Take it slow and make sure you have those layers for a chilly start to your morning. We will warm up to the lower 50s. We'll get some sunshine and we will stay dry. We could see some scattered showers though for your Halloween and into the weekend. But I'll have all those details coming up shortly.
Kelly, thank you. The search continues for 65-year-old Starla Goings, missing from Munising since August 15th. Her orange 2019 Volkswagen was found near her home, but no other major clues have surfaced. Authorities are treating the case as a possible foul play situation and are asking for public help. They're seeking tips, surveillance footage, or any unusual activity noticed in the area between August 15th and the 17th. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Alger County Sheriff's Office. It's now day 29 of the government shutdown, and while paychecks are on pause, hunger is not. From Washington to Michigan, families are turning to food banks for help. As WZMQ 19 News Washington, D.C. correspondent Brendan Scanlon reports, that includes federal workers who are bracing for yet another missed paycheck.
Long lines at this food drive in Hyattsville, Maryland lead to fresh produce, milk, bread, and other necessities every Tuesday. It looks like any other food drive, but this one caters to a specific group of people.
These are the people you usually don't see in these lines, or they're usually helping out at events like this at local food banks. So to be on the other end of it is it's life-changing.
Shanice Childs works for the federal government, just like every other individual in line at one of the 5 capital area food bank distribution sites this week. Nearly 20% of all federal workers call the capital region home, and many are staring down a second missed paycheck they cannot afford to lose.
All resources have been exhausted.
The capital area food bank started hosting emergency distributions just 1 week after paychecks stopped.
We noticed that the lines were just, double what we had anticipated.
Over 300 families were served at each site last week, but this week, capital area food bank CEO Rada Mathia says there's a higher demand.
We brought even more food, so closer to 400 to 450 families can be served at each of these sites.
Matthias says it's all made possible with help from the USDA, local retailers, wholesalers, and generous donations.
We have had thousands of people send small checks, some send bigger checks, to be able to support their neighbors in need.
Even if the lawmakers don't have your back or they're not showing much concern, that the community will step up for you. So that makes me happy.
But if the shutdown drags on and more paychecks are missed, lines are expected to grow, as will uncertainty among federal workers like Childs.
You don't know what to expect. You don't know when it's going to end, and the bills are not stopping.
Cities and towns coast to coast are seeing the same thing. Communities stepping up to help feed one another when paychecks stop and when federal nutrition programs are set to run out of money in a matter of days. Reporting in Washington, Brendan Scanlon to WZMQ 19 News.
Michigan's Attorney General has joined leaders in 25 other states in filing a lawsuit for the suspension of the SNAP program. Our Michigan Capitol correspondent Sophia Murphy has more from AG Nessel on what's at stake.
Michigan's Attorney General has joined a coalition of 25 states seeking a temporary restraining order and filing a lawsuit against the USDA over the suspension of SNAP benefits.
If you visit the USDA website, you'll be met with a shockingly political and hostile message claiming that, quote, the well has run dry, but that's a lie.
Nessel says the federal government has options, pointing to contingency emergency funds and leftover money with the USDA that could be used.
This pause in services will cause immediate harm to 13% of our state.
According to the USDA, the average family of 4 on food stamps receives about $575 a month. But they also report for that same family, the monthly cost of groceries has gone up to about $1,000.
On November 1st, when we have all these people who are on SNAP benefits that are in jeopardy, it becomes a crisis.
He says it's enough to help, but not enough to cover costs completely, and enough that 1.4 million Michiganders and 42 million Americans will now go without what they need to feed their whole family.
78% of Michigan SNAP households include someone with an earned income, and every recipient must either be a U.S. citizen or have qualified non-citizen resident status.
Nessel says her office has yet to receive a decision on the TRO, but if granted, the federal government will be forced to pay out food stamps in at least the 26 states that filed the suit. From Michigan's capital, Sophia Murphy, WZMQ 19 News.
Next Tuesday is Election Day, and in Gladstone, 3 city commission seats are up for grabs. Our Escanaba Bureau reporter Lily Simmons spoke with some of the candidates running for those seats about their platforms.
Looking to retain their seats next year are sitting commissioners Joe Thompson and Steve O'Driscoll. One candidate looking to join the board is Whitney Maloney, owner of local business Super Bloom Coffee House. She's seen Gladstone's recent growth firsthand, and her top priority is to keep that momentum going.
Gladstone's having a moment. We have had really an influx of a lot of small businesses. Not only are we offering jobs and a service, we're the ones supporting youth sports, robotics teams. I see an increase in small business really being the answer to a lot of our problems. It increases the tax base, and with more money you can provide more services.
As a mother and a member of the local child advocacy board, Maloney wants to create more jobs, housing, and other opportunities that allow young people to move to and stay in Gladstone.
The perfect way to do that is to build these relationships with other organizations and even government agencies, school districts, to figure out where are the gaps in supporting kids' affordable housing. That's going to require a really creative approach, utilizing a lot of different ideas, rehabbing existing buildings, the North Shore development. What we don't need are $500,000 condos on the lake shore that doesn't help our community.
Also vying for a seat on the commission is retired electrical engineer Mike O'Connor. As the director of the Gladstone Citizens Council last fall, O'Connor successfully advocated for a ballot proposal to eliminate special assessments. That was after the commission passed a special assessment to collect a millage for public safety needs.
The commission was filled with people that said, no, we want to vote on this, that's how the American way is supposed to be. You vote on any tax increases. The commission voted unanimously to ignore the people. The police and fire special assessment, every year it has to be renewed, and they've renewed it again for another year. That's quite a burden on the citizens. At the same time, they're hit with a double whammy with increase in utility costs.
If elected, O'Connor aims to keep utility costs down and maintain the city's roads more efficiently.
Even if I don't use any water or any electricity, it still costs $100 a month just to, be connected to the surfaces. Can we cap those fixed costs so that in the future it's not going to be any more than a certain amount per month to maintain our roads? What I'm hoping to do is to ask the road commission to come in with their experts and help us. Because if we need any extra millage, we should know exactly what's going to be used for, earmark it, and that will be it.
Both candidates say they want to better engage with Gladstone residents and get them involved in the city's decisions. Reporting in Gladstone, Lily Simmons, WZMQ 19 News.
We reached out to Commissioners O'Driscoll and Thompson for interviews ahead of the election, but we have not yet received a response. Kelly Rowland has your first warning weather forecast when we come back, and we'll see the damage being brought to Jamaica by Hurricane Melissa. We'll be right back.
WZMQ TV 19 First Warning Weather with meteorologist Kelly Rowland.
Welcome back. Before we take a look at our local weather, let's continue to talk about that devastating Hurricane Melissa. It, of course, made landfall across Jamaica as a Category 5. This had 185-mile-per-hour winds, 200-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This video was taken by someone in Spanish Town, Jamaica, while this storm was happening. Also took some videos kind of after the worst of it was past. Trees down, houses destroyed, people lost, obviously. So this is something that people, not just in Jamaica, but a lot of people in the Caribbean will be continuing to deal with, the physical and emotional impacts. There's also lots of resources online that if you can't physically help, there are some GoFundMes, and of course we're still keeping updates on everyone down there in our thoughts as well. Bringing it back here locally, a nice fall day, 52 degrees, and that average is 45. So mid 40s and then around freezing is our new normal for the high and low temperature. No rain for today. We could have a decent amount of frost in store for this evening. This really shouldn't surprise you anymore, considering this is the normal low temperature around freezing mark, but still want to show you because we're still getting into that transition of fall into winter relatively soon. So places like Iron River, Iron Mountain, the western half of the UP, you're more likely to see some frost as you head out the door early tomorrow morning. So make sure you have the layers. We won't necessarily need the rain gear for tomorrow. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds, maybe an isolated drop, but this is when we'll start to get some of that lake effect influence of some showers for Halloween. So it'll definitely be cloudy and breezy, but I can't guarantee widespread rain for Halloween. Therefore, I don't think Halloween's going to be a washout, but we are expecting some scattered and isolated showers. So really nothing for the entirety of tomorrow, but then you do see for Friday, we could get a few hundredths, maybe a tenth of an inch of rain, especially to the western half. So we can't rule out the rain, but the good news is it's not looking like torrential downpours or sustained downpours for the entire day. So I think we can deal with it as long as you kind of adapt your Halloween costume to kind of bear the breeze and also maybe get a little wet. We should be fine, okay? All you need is the candy. So overall, the weekend is not looking too bad either. It might be breezy and a few showers for Halloween, and we'll start to slowly taper it off as we get through Saturday and Sunday. Sunday going to be really nice. High temperatures rebound back to the lower 50s, and of course, daylight saving time ends and we get an hour back of sleep. So you should be nice and refreshed for this upcoming week. But your candy cast, the trick or treat during your prime time trick or treating time, temperatures will be around the mid 40s, and we will likely see the breeze. I wanted to put some sun in here too to just let you know I don't think it's going to be a completely gloomy of a day, but hey, it might just completely fit in with the spooky vibes, and that's completely okay. So we know how the weekend looks. We get that extra hour back of sleep, and as we get to the second half of the weekend and into this week, we'll really start to feel some slightly warmer temperatures, also keeping things nicely dry with mostly sunny conditions, also a mixed sky.
Kelly, thank you again. Hurricane Melissa has left dozens of people dead as it tore through across the Caribbean. It was downgraded to a Category 1, but still dangerous storm. It pounded Jamaica yesterday as a Category 5, the most powerful hurricane ever to make landfall on the island. Jason Allen was there when it struck and today has a look at the damage.
First Light in Jamaica brought the first clear view of the devastation. Melissa made landfall yesterday as a Category 5 hurricane with winds up to 185 miles per hour. The monster storm stripped buildings to the studs and covered roads in mud. We traveled from Jamaica's capital city to the town of Santa Cruz. The 3-hour drive took us over rocks and debris, around fallen power lines, and at times off-road.
It's very unlikely that we'll be able to resume school in any shape or form.
At St. Elizabeth Technical High School, Principal Keith Wellington showed us where the wind blew the walls off classrooms.
The students and teachers at this high school, they sheltered in one of the concrete buildings on campus, but this is one of their classrooms. The roof ripped off in the winds, and the walls, they are all piled on top of the desks and chairs where they would have been sitting on a normal day.
We definitely will have to find a way to ensure that everyone is not totally displaced.
Tonight, more than 25,000 people are in shelters, and nearly 80% of the island nation is without power. We met local politician Delroy Slowly as the town's one working front end loader pushed mud off the one major roadway connecting his community to hard-hit Black River.
In all of it, we still have to give God thanks for. It could have been worse.
You said that when you walked up. How could this have been worse?
Lives, many lives could have been lost.
The damage was overwhelming. The St. John Parish Anglican Church was built roughly 200 years ago. Today, the only thing left standing is the steeple. The top priorities here are getting communications working again and getting these roads cleared. We're told that there are patients in a hospital just to the west. They want to take them into another city to the east, but the roads have got to be cleared for them to do that.
Today, the Federal Reserve cut its benchmark rate again, citing continued weakness in the labor market. Bradley Blackburn has more on the decision and what we can expect from the Fed by the end of the year.
Wall Street rang in the trading day with optimism, expecting another rate cut from the Federal Reserve.
The Fed stuck to script. It cut interest rates a quarter point. That's exactly what investors thought they would do.
That 1/4 percentage point cut knocks the benchmark rate down to its lowest level since 2022. The government shutdown delayed key economic data, forcing the Fed to rely on private sector surveys instead. But the Bureau of Labor Statistics did churn out a belated consumer price index, which showed inflation at 3%, still above the Fed's 2% target rate.
The thinking is, I think it's appropriate that this is one-off. It's related to the tariffs. Once the tariffs settle down and we all adjust, then the inflation will recede.
The real bellwether for the Federal Reserve, weakness in the labor market.
After the July meeting, we saw the downward revisions in job creation. We saw a very different picture of the labor market, and it suggested that there were higher downside risks to the labor market than we had thought.
And Americans aren't feeling so sunny about the labor picture either. According to the Conference Board, one measure of Americans' short-term outlook for income and job market conditions fell to 71.5. A number below 80 typically signals a recession on the horizon. The Federal Reserve could still be lacking key data when it meets again in December if the shutdown persists.
We're not going to be able to have the detailed feel of things, but I think if there were a significant or material change in the economy one way or another, I think we'd pick that up.
This is the Fed's second straight rate cut, lowering borrowing costs on things like credit cards and auto loans. Powell said a third cut in December is not a foregone conclusion.
Still to come on your 19 News, Waters Meet Township Public Schools is receiving recognition for improving academic scores. We'll have the details on why after this.
You're watching WZMQ 19 News, live and local with Kevin Hodge.
Welcome back, everyone. 77% of students at Watersmeet Township Public Schools are of Indigenous heritage. Our own John Truitt has the story of how their new inclusive curriculum is improving their scores.
In 2022, Watersmeet schools set out to change their curriculum to better serve their Native American students. Superintendent George Peterson and his team of educators, and in a partnership with the Lac-Vieux Desert Band of Lake Superior Chippewa Indians, began to overhaul their curriculum to integrate Indigenous language, culture, and heritage into all fields of study. A move that has been paying dividends ever since.
Really putting a face on whether it be a math lesson or English lesson or anything, being able to tie that to what happens in the culture.
Today, Nate Beelan, a top official with the Michigan Department of Education's Indigenous Education Initiative team, visited campus to recognize those improvements and find ways to implement them elsewhere.
That offers an opportunity to take what's going on here and figuring out how we can tailor that to work in other locations, in other situations, in other scenarios.
Due to the new curriculum, test scores have increased, truancy rates have fallen, and behavioral problems have decreased. Students are taking notice, many saying they love going to school.
Ever since I came here, I've just been feeling a lot better and more secure.
With the continued success of the Nimrod Nation, state education officials are hoping more schools will adopt similar programs. In Watersmeet, John Truitt, WZMQ 19 News.
Marquette Sawyer Regional Airport recently announced an upcoming expansion of Chicago flights next year. NQT will service United Airlines flights 3 times daily to and from O'Hare International Airport, utilizing an aircraft seating around 50 passengers. Sawyer management says after searching for additional options for many years, the change will hopefully make connecting flights easier for locals, students, and tourists to access.
We have seen that level of service to that airport before. But United coming in here with 3 flights a day in addition to American's flights really just increases the connectedness of Marquette to other airports, and hopefully will also, with that competition, reduce fares as well, make it easier to fly in and out of here.
United service will begin May 21st of 2026. There may be a crackdown coming on a type of sports gambling known as prop betting. Instead of picking winners or losers, you bet that something specific will or will not happen during a game. For example, you might bet that Patrick Mahomes will throw a touchdown pass or LeBron James will score more than 25 points. Now, pro leagues are talking about limiting prop bets, and some states could make them illegal after players were accused of taking a dive. Scott McFarland has more.
If this week is an example of the beauty of America's pastime, this wild pitch from June could be the new ugly side of the sport.
It's just a little bit outside.
In the 3rd inning, Cleveland pitcher Luis Ortiz threw a pitch in the dirt and was suspended soon after amid allegations he might have done it on purpose to help gamblers who'd bet on that pitch being outside the strike zone.
The first inclination for everybody, and myself included, is there's something not right there.
Jason Van Hoff saw that pitch. He investigates suspicious betting patterns and worked for the monitoring company that reportedly alerted Major League Baseball about a surge in bets around that play in Cleveland. They're called prop bets.
And any strikeout can pay out.
Wagers made on an individual player's performance.
How big a part of the gaming business is it?
It's definitely growing.
Ortiz's suspension got the attention of Ohio's governor, Mike DeWine, who now wants to ban prop bets in his state.
We saw states, one after another, rapidly approve sports gambling a few years ago. Was this not envisioned?
One pitch, one shot of the basket. I don't think that's what most people thought of at that time, but it's clearly taken off, and it's clearly a problem.
As part of a blockbuster indictment last week, federal agents arrested an NBA player who allegedly tipped off gamblers he was going to leave a game early with an injury. According to Van Hoff, the explosion of prop betting in the last decade has turned some lesser-known athletes into marks.
It was primarily based around just the superstars, the Patrick Mahomes, the LeBron James. Now it is starting to move down into lower levels of the game, the players coming in off of the bench, the rookies that might not have as much playing time.
We were unable to reach the Cleveland pitcher Ortiz for comment, but Ohio isn't the only state considering a new restriction on prop bets. There's legislation in other states to do the same. We've also learned Major League Baseball is talking to other leagues about some internal restrictions on prop bets.
A 19th century play is reimagined while a group of men compete for the title of Mr. Christmas. Gwen Baumgartner has tonight's entertainment headlines.
It was exhausting. I still haven't recovered.
Emma Thompson and Ruth Wilson create a tired team of one amateur sleuth and one private investigator in the TV series Down Cemetery Road, a crime thriller with a bit of levity.
You're putting people in sort of very extreme situations that they would never be in usually. So, of course, it's quite funny because how do they react in those scenarios?
Down Cemetery Road streams today on Apple TV+. It's a competition show like no other. A battle to become the next Hallmark star has returned for a second season.
Merry Christmas.
The winner will go on to star in an upcoming holiday movie. Finding Mr. Christmas airs each Monday on the Hallmark Channel. More than a century after the play Hedda Gabler was first published, the title character returns in a new film portrayed by actress Tessa Thompson.
I think that she is a complicated character. I think one of the reasons that she's compelled audiences for as long as she has is I personally think that some of the things that she expresses are fundamental human things that we all experience.
The film Hedda follows the complex life of the female newlywed, feeling trapped by boredom and social expectations. Hedda is now available on Prime Video.
If I come back with a fish, I'm going to feel like Poseidon.
And tonight on Survivor, a major shakeup hits the game when two tribes turn to three and new tribe members size each other up. You can catch Survivor Wednesdays on CBS and stream anytime on Paramount+.
Now, stay tuned, everyone. We'll have a final look at weather after this.
A final look at your forecast headed into tonight. It's going to be a cold one. We do see some 20s here, especially for Iron River, Iron Mountain, closer into Wisconsin. You also have a better chance of seeing some frost as well as possibly some patchy fog. So if you're headed out very early tomorrow morning, make sure you have the layers and maybe account for a few extra minutes if the visibility is reduced. Tomorrow might still see that fog hanging around to the Ironwood area, but we will get some sunshine, temperatures rounding off into the mid-50s. And if we look beyond beyond that, to the start of November, we will actually be trending slightly warmer. We'll even start to see some mid to upper 50s here on our 7-day. We'll also keep in mind that we could see a possibility for some rain for Halloween, but over the next 48 hours, the chance does stay pretty low. But you can kind of see as we get closer to that prime trick-or-treating time, we might have a few scattered showers to dodge. But that will taper off through the weekend, and as we get into next week, we will start to settle right back into a dry period, also with some slightly above average temperatures.
Kelly, thank you again. Now, finally tonight, some deliveries take days. This one took more than 100 years. A family cleaning up a beach in Australia found a World War I message in a bottle written by 2 soldiers sailing to France in 1916. Somehow, it sat buried in the sand for more than a century.
We sat it on the windowsill for a couple of days to dry a bit, and I could see one of the letters was dry enough for me to attempt to get it out, never dreaming that we'd be able to read words.
The cheerful letters were written in pencil. One private included his mother's name and address, making it easy to track down his relatives. With a bit more research, the other soldier's family was found as well. That's all the time we have for tonight, everyone. We'll catch you back here tomorrow at 6/5 Central. See you then.